Part 5. Participating in a love show, this little guy is too down to earth. Author, Buletin Shi Swan Shi Shui Xian. Chapter 41. Let's go take a look too. He happened to be planning to go out for a walk, but when he saw Gu Huiyan rushing out of the hospital, Pei Jingshu simply suggested. Okay. Shang Zuoyan stood up from the bar, raised her arms, stretched her waist, and moaned like a lazy cat. When the cameras showed her, she had a curvy front and a slender waist, and her waistcoat line was particularly prominent. Shang Zuoyan, who is known as the sexy little wild horse, has a really good figure, that is to say, the camera teacher did not dare to give her a shot from behind, otherwise her round buttocks will surely make many viewers' blood boil. But even so, many people also commented on the barrage. Shang Zuoyan is indeed my spiritual mentor. I, Zhu Yuchen of Beijing Experimental Middle School, launched under my real name. Sorry Yan Yan, I've been under a lot of pressure lately. The live broadcast room vaguely felt like it had become a NASA rocket launch site. Seeing that both Shang Zuoyan and Pei Jingshu planned to go to the village entrance to watch the country bumpkin play basketball, Zhang Shuo thought that he would look a bit out of place if he didn't go, so he also offered to go and watch. He can also play basketball, but the videos of him playing basketball with his hair parted in the middle and wearing overalls were often criticized by the Zhe gang at Station B, so he later didn't dare to beat him in front of the camera. Where are you going? When they were about to leave, the mature sister Xylin happened to come down from upstairs. The exotic beauty was full of energy after her lunch break, and her big eyes were bright and twinkling. We are going to the entrance of the village. The beautiful girl Shang Zuoyan explained to Xylin that they were going to the village entrance to watch Gu Huiyan play basketball. Unsurprisingly, the mature sister was equally surprised when she heard that Gu Huiyan was going to the village to play basketball with the local villagers, and immediately said in a funny way that she also wanted to take a look. Quite interested. So since everyone is going, it would definitely not be good if he did not take Su Yuntang with him, as it would seem to isolate him, so Shang Zuoyan went upstairs to call Su Yuntang. When the actor Su heard Xylin's voice coming downstairs, he just wanted to pretend to have just woken up and follow him down, when Shang Zuoyan came up and called him, thus avoiding the embarrassment. But when he heard it, he was actually asked to go play basketball with the children in Gu Huiyan village. At that time, the corner of the actor Su's mouth twitched, and he was speechless for a moment and didn't know what to say. It can only be said that that little fresh meat is really refreshing his knowledge all the time. MD can do this kind of work for a young noon boss, he is also a talent. Everyone wanted to go, and the actor Su must not be unsocial, so everyone gathered in the small courtyard. It is worth mentioning that they were in no rush to set off. In the small courtyard, gas bursts could be heard everywhere. The cameras swept over and took a closer look. Everyone found that the guests were each holding a bottle of sunscreen and spraying it crazily on their faces, necks and other exposed parts of their bodies. The ultraviolet rays here in Yunnan are very strong, and today is a very bright and sunny day. Even if it is already the afternoon, you still need to wear sunscreen when going out. This is true for ordinary tourists. They are all celebrities and entertainers, and they pay attention to a certain skin condition. Who can allow themselves to tan? It is worth mentioning that Shang Zuoyan and Pei Jingshu sprayed on their legs. Pei Jingshu was okay, she was wearing a long dress, so she just looked at the slender legs under her skirt. The legs were briefly sprayed. The little wild horse Shang Zuoyan is wearing shorts. She needs to spray on a large area, including her thighs. Because she didn't spray very thoroughly later on, she asked Pei Jingshu to help her spray on the heels of her thighs. That scene was so eye-catching. That is to say, the mature sister Xylin changed into a pair of black trousers after lunch break, showing off her intellectual style, otherwise she might have been squirted. As for the male guest, Su Yuntang didn't complain. The actor Su is indeed pretentious, but he is a good actor. It will be more interesting to appear on camera if his skin is more tanned and natural. The most interesting thing is Jingshuo. This guy held a bottle of sunscreen and sprayed it on his face countless times. More sprays than Pei Jingshu and Shang Zuoyan combined. You know, the second girl had her legs sprayed, but this guy didn't need to spray his legs. Even some passers-by couldn't help laughing and said, "The sunscreen on this face is thicker than any foundation. One layer of foundation, one layer of sunscreen, we can't tell the difference between cannibals and ghosts. Tisk tisk, these artists are so pretentious. I ignored them when I was looking after Huayan. Haha, that brother went out as soon as he said he was going out. He was not prepared at all. Gu Huayan, it all depends on the support of my peers. I have to say that because of the hypocritical preparations of these guests, everyone inexplicably developed a favorable impression of Gu Huayan. Honestly. Yes, Yunnan has strong ultraviolet rays. Even many people have seen the need to wear sunscreen when traveling. But not everyone wears sunscreen when traveling. After all, in our daily lives, many people rarely use this thing, and subconsciously ignore it, even in the hot summer. It's normal for girls to use it, but not many boys take sun protection seriously. If it's dark, it's fine. For men, it doesn't matter if it's dark. It's a big deal. But look at Jingshuo, he squirts more than the female guests. It's hard for everyone not to complain. Yes, we also know that you are a little girl, but you are also a man. Why do you wear so much sunscreen? Look at Gu Huayan. Our little Gu wore big pants and flip-flops and walked around the village for more than an hour without mentioning sun protection. He walked away when he went out and didn't mention it when he came back. Even the audience mentioned it. Ignored. If it weren't for the fact that these guests had to go out to play basketball at Gu Huayan village, so it was made so formal, no one would have remembered it. This gap is immediately highlighted. This is not because Gu Huayan is down to earth, but his appearance is what normal people look like in daily life. When we usually go out, there is so much preparation work. Why don't you just pick up your things and leave? Look at these celebrity artists. After spraying with sunscreen, it wasn't enough. The staff even gave them some eye sleeves, sun protective clothing, etc., as if they were afraid that they would be exposed to the sun. Forget about female artists, Jingshuo wears more clothes than female artists. It simply interprets the word hypocritical to the extreme. At this time, Gu Huayan had already come to the village basketball court to play basketball. He was a little rusty after not playing for a long time, but his muscle memory was still there, so he could start playing after a while. Who knew that at this moment? Ding, the host has successfully grounded himself and gained exposure, and the points are at 91x5. The system suddenly gave Gu Huayan a large amount reminder. Gu Huayan. Do you get so many points for playing basketball? Gu Huayan said that he would have known if he would have worn overalls and had his hair parted in the middle before he was beaten. This is so damn fragrant. Participating in a love show, this little guy is too down to earth. Author, Buletin Shi Swan Shi Shui Xian. Chapter 42. What should Gu Huayan say this time? Strictly speaking, she is just like Dian Niang, relying entirely on the support of her peers. You don't need to deliberately push yourself up, because your peers will push you down on their own, making you more eye-catching. And just when the guests in the crystal courtyard were finally packed up and ready to go, the director took a look at the barrage and very wisely showed the camera to Gu Huayan, who was playing basketball at the village court itself. Everyone looks at those celebrities and entertainers who are wrapped in eye sleeves, sun protection clothes, and their faces and bodies are sprayed with sunscreen. They are not very pleasing to the eye. The camera turns. He gave it directly to Gu Huayan, who was playing basketball on the basketball court. Gu Huayan had arrived on the basketball court early. After arriving, he shared the milk from the sponsor as a gift with several young people in the village. Gu Huiyan was immediately praised by everyone for his politeness. They probably felt that Gu Huiyan, a celebrity who came to record a show, was so kind to ordinary people like them, so of course they couldn't be shameless. So when he started playing, several brothers who were teammates with Gu Huiyan often passed the ball to Gu Huiyan. Doesn't a good relationship on the court depend on whether others pass the ball to you? That is a kind of trust. It is a kind of generous giving. Everyone wants to shoot the ball and be the limelight. Isn't it a generous gift to be able to pass the ball to others and let others shine? I have to say that playing ball is really easy to warm up people. After playing for only a short time, a layer of fine beads of sweat appeared on Gu Huiyan's forehead. When the camera turned from the guests going out to Gu Huiyan, it happened to capture Gu Huiyan running on the basketball court. At that time, Gu Huiyan was still wearing the big pants and simple white t-shirt that everyone considered tasteless from yesterday until now, but he had replaced flip-flops with sneakers. But at this moment, for some reason, Gu Huiyan in everyone's eyes is not only no longer the same nothing as yesterday, but rather refreshing and capable. He wore very simple clothes and ran quickly on the basketball court. There was no sunscreen on his face, just sweat from strenuous exercise. There were no sun protection sleeves on his arms or sun protection clothing. His long arms and legs were exposed to the strong ultraviolet rays of Yunnan. But that's who he is. At this moment, he really relied on his own image to crush the other top guests on this show. He is like an ordinary boy next door who gathers up with a group of friends on weekends to throw his life and blood on the basketball court near his home. This is the first time I see Xiao Gu so pleasing to the eye. I don't even know why. Many netizens also posted comments in a state of laughter and laughter. This kid. Even Zhang Dan, the producer behind the machine and the boss of Huiyan, couldn't help but shake his head and smile. She didn't know why, but even she quite liked this guy right now. His down-to-earthness and realness seemed to be liked by everyone for the first time. It can only be said that there is no harm without comparison. The celebrities and artists of this era are indeed too pretentious. On the way to the village entrance stadium. Pei Jingshu, what are you holding in your hand? Pei Jingshu wore a simple dress and sprayed sunscreen on her body, but she did not wear eye sleeves or sunscreen clothing, which would affect her beauty. But she was carrying a piece of sun protection clothing and a bottle of something. Shang Zuoyan couldn't help but be curious when she saw it. The bottle in Pei Jingshu's hand didn't look like water, but more like sunscreen. It's sunscreen. The cold fair-skinned beauty pursed her lips and smiled slightly, without any intention of explaining. Didn't you wear sunscreen? Why did you still take one? Xylin, the mature sister walking in front, was wearing a very nice straw hat. She looked back with a smile and asked funny. Upon hearing this, everyone looked at Pei Jingshu strangely. I am. While talking about this, Sister Pei's pretty face turned slightly red. The blush was too obvious for her cold white skin color. She couldn't help but lower her head and said in a low voice. I was there to see if Gu Huiyan didn't wear sunscreen, so I just put it on for him. As soon as these words came out. Oh. Then. Everyone suddenly showed a melon-eating expression. Not only the guests at the scene, but also the audience watching the show next door were blown away. Sister Pei. How can that boy be so virtuous that he asks you to wear sunscreen for him? Ah! Kill Gugo and snatch Sister Pei. Brothers, all rush to me. 2nd Battalion Commander. Where is your special Italian cannon? Gu Huiyan, you boy, MD comes out to challenge me. Stop fighting alone, come with the labor and management, chop him into pieces. Ah! I'm really stricken to death when Pei Ban takes care of CP. The barrage area exploded. Polarization. On one side were the male fans of Sister Pei's family. They were so stunned that they killed Gugo and snatched Sister Pei one by one. They vowed to cut Gu Huiyan into thousands of pieces. On the other side, there are the CP fans Pei Ban takes care of. They are eating sweets like crazy. It feels like Sister Pei just shoveled a big bowl of dog food and stuffed it into their mouths. Okay. This show of affection really made their scalps tingle. It was quite explosive on both sides. No one expected that a cold beauty like Pei Jingshu Pei could actually be so considerate and proactive in being nice to boys. And this side is what countless male fans dream about. Oh. Sister Xylin took the lead in making sweets and eating melons on the front line. She pointed at the sun protection clothing in Pei Jingshu's hand and asked. So you also brought the sun protection clothing for him? Uh-huh. Pei Jingshu lowered her head with a red face and whispered in agreement. Sister Xylin was able to eat this piece of melon in one mouthful, and the actor Suhihi smiled, thinking that young love is quite sweet. It is said that he saw Pei Jingshu and Gu Huiyan interacting in the morning, and even ate a mouthful of dog food in the morning. MD. Zhang Shuo had an unhappy expression on his face. At this moment, he suddenly felt like there were several alpacas jumping wildly on the green grassland above his head. It was as uncomfortable as eating xiang, jiao. It is worth mentioning that Xiaoma Shangzuoyan's mood is not much better either. How to say? Maybe Shangzuoyan herself thinks that based on her personality, she might be like Sister Xylin and make fun of her. I don't know why, but when I saw Pei Jingshu carefully helping Gu Huiyan apply sunscreen, I thought of how she put her hair up in the morning. She was a little unhappy. You can tell that she has a good impression of Gu Huiyan. In fact, she doesn't have a good impression of him. This guy is too vulgar, and sometimes she even dislikes him. But when Gu Huiyan left steak for her last night, she really felt that Gu Huiyan was already in her pocket. Even if your own things are in bad hands, smashed, or thrown away, you cannot give them to others. She doesn't have to cherish it, but she can't be treated as a treasure by others when she goes there, let alone let others show it off. This will make her feel that she has missed something. This should be yours, and you should show it off to yourself. That sense of gap is the most tormenting. She wanted to scold herself now. Was she mean? Why did she have to ask Pei Jingshu what was in her hand? If she hadn't asked if she hadn't eaten this melon yet. If Gu Huiyan and Pei Jingshu were really bound to CP, she would have made a great contribution. Thinking of this, Shangzuoyan couldn't help but pout. Fall. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Participating in a love show, this little guy is too down to earth. Author, Buletin Shi Swan Shi Shui Xian. Chapter 43. Don't misunderstand. Everyone booed. Pei Jingshu's face turned red, but she explained stubbornly. He helped me tie my hair at noon. I was reciprocating the courtesy. At this moment, Pei Jingshu is gentle and considerate, giving people a virtuous image. At this moment, she may no longer be the domestic entertainer with a face that can make everyone cheer and scream at a performance with tens of thousands of people, but just a little girl indulging in the sweetness of love. Oh. The mature sister took the lead in eating the melon, with an expression on her face that clearly said, I believe it but I don't fully believe it. Everyone smiled politely. The glassy hearts of many fans of Pei Jingshu's family have already been shattered by now. It is worth mentioning that Pei Jingshu's agent sister couldn't help but frown when she saw this. Basketball court. Gu Huiyan controlled the ball with one hand, quickly passed by, made a beautiful three-step layup, and threw the ball into the basket. Just. This is what everyone saw when they came over. I didn't expect Xiao Gu to be good at basketball. Actor Su Yuntang chuckled and praised. It's true that he and Gu Huiyan don't get along, but they have to be friendly no matter what in front of the camera. The guests nodded one after another. It is worth mentioning that the three female guests, Shang Zhuoyan, Xilin, and Pei Jingshu, looked at Gu Huayan with a drawn look. It's not brushed either. The main thing is that girls come to the basketball court to watch boys play basketball, which seems to only happen in college. In their minds, the college years are already far away. Having said that, they seem to be the school beauties of their respective schools when they were in college. How could they go to the basketball court to watch boys play basketball? I just think it's quite fresh. Especially the mature sister Xilin. For some reason, she found the scene of Gu Huayan playing basketball a bit eye-catching. The tender younger brother stood out among the children of several local villagers. He was very eye-catching in terms of figure and appearance, and the way he concentrated on playing ball gave her a feeling she had not seen for a long time. Heart-pounding feeling. Xilin, a mature sister of this age, really can't resist the kind of sweaty younger brother. A few moments. Gu Huayan chatted for a while and noticed that everyone was coming, so he came over to say hello. It is worth mentioning that Pei Jingshu caused a commotion when she stepped forward to give him sunscreen and sun protection clothing. At that time, the barrage of the program was going crazy. Kill Gu Go and steal Sister Pei. Gu Huayan, you kid, come out for a duel. All in all pretty crazy. He thanked Pei Jingshu for his kindness, but Gu Huayan did not wear sunscreen or sun protection clothing. Playing basketball on the basketball court makes you sweat all over. No matter how much sunscreen you spray on, it won't help. It's too late to take off your clothes when it's hot. How can you wear an extra sunscreen? It was precisely because of this that Gu Huayan received another notification from the system. Ding, the host successfully grounded himself and gained exposure, points at 91. After a brief chat, Gu Huayan went back to playing basketball for the sake of his own system points. Gu Huayan, who was enjoying playing with several young people in the village, gave these guests the feeling that he seemed to be more familiar with these young people playing basketball with him. It's frustrating and funny at the same time. Country bumpkin. Zhang Shuo grinned, looking at Gu Huayan no differently than he looked at the village kids playing basketball with him. In fact, after staying for a long time, Zhang Shuo also thought about it. He felt that Gu Huayan was probably not a very professional artist, nor was he a well-connected person. He is probably a new type of artist promoted by the capital behind the scenes who wants to take a down-to-earth route. I have heard of this kind of thing before. The entertainment industry is becoming more and more hypocritical these days. The way capital promotes artists must also start thinking about transformation. Reverse promoting some down-to-earth artists, maybe there will be different responses. As for character design, this kind of thing is extremely common in the entertainment industry. Although he is a capital experiment and Zhang Shuo should not be familiar with him, his presence has already affected the recording of his own program. Not only did he disgust himself, but he also stole his female guest. This makes Zhang Shuo a little bit intolerable. This kind of claptrap clown is an amateur, so why can he steal the limelight from him in a top-notch romance drama? Especially Pei Jingshu, don't you think it's exaggerated to make secret glances at such a person? We have to find a way to cure him. Zhang Shuo rubbed his chin, seeming to have some thoughts in his mind. He didn't want to offend the capital behind Gu Huayan, but he couldn't let Gu Huayan be so arrogant towards him. Probably, the sun was too strong and the ultraviolet rays were too strong. Even if they sprayed on sunscreen and wore sun protective clothing, Xilin and the others couldn't stay in the village entrance without any shade. So after staying for a while, they left. After walking around the village for a while, we returned to the crystal courtyard. After taking a short rest, it was already getting late, and everyone began to think about dinner. Finally, without Gu Huayan, the actor Su began to take the initiative to show off, saying that he would take care of dinner and everyone could just rest. There were also vegetables bought for lunch in the kitchen, and the actor Su was tinkering with them vigorously, and soon the rice was fragrant. By the time his meal was almost ready, it was already evening. As the sun sets in the west, the orange-red sunset light smudges the pure white clouds in the sky into a gradual color, and even the blue sky in the distance begins to darken. Xiaogu hasn't come back yet. Seeing that dinner was about to start, the mature sister Xylin, who was wearing a local ethnic shawl, looked at the time and couldn't help but frown. What a homeless kid. Why don't you call him? The actor Su wore an apron and looked very modest and generous. Well. The mature sister took a look in the small courtyard and did not find Pei Jingshu and Shang Zuoyan. Pei Jingshu seemed to have gone to the bathroom, while Shang Zuoyan was dragged by her manager to be drilled hard because of the potato chips and ice cream in the morning. Zhang Shuo wasn't there either, but from the sound of guitar coming from the second floor, he might have gone to the second floor to do some sculpting as he did at noon. Well. Seeing that Su Yuntang was still staring at the kitchen, and he was the only idle person in the whole yard, the mature sister gave a helpless smile and said with a smile, "I'd better call him." You. When Su Yuntang heard this, the corner of his mouth twitched, and he thought to himself, how stupid am I? Why should I call him? Damn it, MD, what time is it now? That guy played basketball all afternoon and he still doesn't go home. Doesn't he have any sense of time or counting? He deserves to have Xylin call him home for dinner. Ah. Participating in a love show, this little guy is too down to earth. Author, Buletin Shi Xuan Shi Shui Xian. Chapter 44. The time was around 6:30 in the evening, almost 7 o'clock. In Yunnan in June, it is almost completely dark at 8 o'clock in the evening. It happened to be evening at this time, and the exotic goddess Xylin, wearing a pure white lace dress and a local shawl, was walking leisurely on the stone road in the small village. There will be villagers passing by nearby, most of them are people of a certain age. Yongzi village is relatively remote and there are almost no tourists, so few young people will stay at home to farm and raise horses, and most of them go out to work. Because of her very high nationality, even if the villagers she met on the road were all older villagers, they would occasionally recognize Xylin. When they greeted Sirin would also smile and wave at them politely. Walking in such an ancient village, Xylin felt like she was really a villager here, greeting the neighbors and villagers while walking on the road. The sunset is very warm, not as dazzling and scorching as during the day. It shines on the stone roads and the eaves of the mud houses in the ancient villages, giving people a natural sense of belonging and closeness. Why is it really like telling a naughty child to go home for dinner? Xylin smiled bitterly. To be honest, she didn't even know what was going on in her stupid mind. Someone asked her just now what she was doing, and she almost said she was going to call her children home for dinner. She now has the feeling that she is not recording a program to call the guests back for dinner, but that she really lives in this village. She is a mother and calls her children home for dinner. The naughty child played outside with other children all afternoon and stayed away from home. As it turned dark and the meal was ready, he did not come back. As a mother, she had no choice but to look for him on the street and call him home for dinner. How do you say that? Gu Huiyan, your mother called you home for dinner. Right. That's probably what it feels like. Am I really old? Xylin shook her head and smiled bitterly. She was obviously only in her 30s, which is when a woman matures, but for some reason, she always felt kind-hearted in her heart sometimes. What it feels like to be a mom. During the day, when she saw Shang Zuoyan lying on the freezer of the store, staring at the ice cream and not daring to eat it, she felt as distressed as if she were seeing her own daughter. Now when she went to call Gu Huiyan to come home for dinner, she felt like she was calling Gu Huiyan when her children couldn't play outside. She didn't know what was going on with her. Did she really want to be a mother because she was getting older? Well. The mature sister smiled bitterly and shook her head, sighing silently, trying to get rid of all these thoughts in her mind. She thought she might really want a child. When she walked to the basketball court, Xylan found that Gu Huiyan was still playing basketball there. There are already a few fewer people than when we came in the afternoon. Maybe they all went home to eat. However, there were still a few people accompanying Gu Huiyan. The young people who had been playing all afternoon were extremely hot. They talked about Gu Huiyan. This boy's hair was soaked with sweat and tangled, and the sweat on his face was constant. Tick down. It is worth mentioning that maybe it was because it was too hot, so Gu Huiyan took off the short sleeves he was wearing on his upper body. At this moment, he was completely shirtless and playing ball. It's really common for boys to play shirtless on the court in the summer, and it's not that rare, so even if Gu Huiyan does this, no one will say anything. On the contrary. I didn't expect this kid to have a good figure. Some female viewers posted comments saying, "The outline of your abdominal muscles is very obvious. You have a six-pack, dear. There's something special about his muscular lines. He's been practicing a lot at first glance. It's hard to imagine that with his eating habits, he can still have such a tender body. Gu Huiyan, are you polite? Ft. Ha ha ha." Maybe he had been playing ball all afternoon, and even though he was shirtless, Gu Huiyan had a lot of sweat on his body. When the beads of sweat were all over his upper body, it was as if his whole body had been highlighted. It happened to be bright on the basketball court, and even though the sunset was no longer so bright, it was like a flashlight hitting him. Gu Huiyan running on the court really felt a bit sparkling. Far away. Looking at Gu Huiyan like this. Looking at his shirtless body, he has muscular lines and tendons. Looking at him covered in sweat. Gilug. The mature sister Xylan couldn't help but swallow her saliva. In the afternoon, when she came to see Gu Huiyan, she had a long-lost feeling of love blossoming in her heart. Now when she saw him playing basketball shirtless and covered in sweat, she couldn't take her eyes away. She simply couldn't resist the sight of her tender young brother covered in sweat. Honestly. While Xylan was tempted, she actually felt guilty in her heart. How to say? Just now I was thinking that I was a bit like a mother who calls her child home for dinner, treating him as a child. Now she is attracted to this young brother who is shirtless and covered in sweat playing basketball, treating him like a man. How can we not feel guilty? This made her not sure whether she should call her Gu Huiyan. In the end, Gu Huiyan saw Xylan standing with the camera teacher and waved to her after shooting. Sister Xylan. Gu Huiyan was holding the t-shirt he wore during the day. The clothes were wet with sweat. Gu Huiyan even used it to wipe his sweat. It was not at all tasteful and even a little sloppy. But just because he was so sloppy, when he came in front of Xylan, the mature sister didn't know how to open her mouth for a moment. "Why did you come here by yourself?" Gu Huiyan couldn't help but ask when he saw Xylan stunned. "Oh, my." Probably due to the sunset, Xylan's exotic and pretty face was flushed, but it was not noticed. Her eyes were evasive, trying not to look at Gu Huiyan's exposed upper body, and just said, Dinner is ready. Seeing that you haven't come back yet, I'll come over and call you." Xylan was scolding herself in her heart. It's not like she has never seen the world. Why is she so embarrassed in front of a little puppy? It's so embarrassing. Okay. Oh, we just finished the fight and they are going back. Gu Huiyan smiled when he heard this and turned around to say hello to the children in the village. He casually put his wet white t-shirt on his shoulders, flipped up his wet bangs and walked forward. He didn't take 2 steps when he saw that Xylan didn't follow but turned around and asked strangely. "Sister Xylan, why don't you leave?" Ah. Xylan was stunned, but she only reacted when Gu Huiyan called out. She pursed her lips and smiled, pretending to be calm, and said, Come here." With that said, she followed Gu Huiyan. At this moment, Xylan figured out a lot of things. What kind of mother and son are they? The elder sister should have an underground affair with the younger brother, okay. Participating in a love show, this little guy is too down to earth. Author, Buletin Shi Swan Shi Shui Xian. Chapter 45. Too hot. At the end of the exercise, I was sweating. The white t-shirt was already soaked. When playing basketball, Gu Huiyan even used it as a towel to wipe away the sweat. He once hung it on his shoulder on the way back. If it weren't for the mature sister's reminder, Gu Huiyan would still be shirtless even at the Crystal Courtyard program recording site. Came back. When they entered the courtyard, the actor Su Yuntang, who was wearing an apron, had already prepared dinner and put it on the table. To avoid the phenomenon of being eaten by Gu Huiyan in one bite at noon, the actor Su specially added more portions to the meal in the evening. Lots of food. Gu Huiyan's eyes lit up after he entered. Maybe it was because he had been exercising all afternoon, but Gu Huiyan's stomach was already empty. Do you want to take a shower first? Xilan asked with a smile. Having said that, Gu Huiyan was really in a mess right now. Because I had been playing basketball for several hours, I was sweating all over and my body was soaked to the skin. I had been in the sun for several hours without applying sunscreen, and my arms and face were all red. The white t-shirt was even more gray and white because he used it as a towel. When he wore it, the chest area stuck tightly to his body. No matter how dirty it looks. With his image, people in the village who didn't know him thought he was really a villager. Who would have thought that he was a young guy who came to record a show? Good. Gu Huiyan smiled. He did want to be down to earth, but he didn't want to dress so sloppily while recording the show. He was a bit worried. After saying hello, he went upstairs to wash up and change clothes. When they went upstairs, Zhang Shuo was playing guitar on the second floor. When he saw Gu Huiyan, he smiled and said hello. As soon as Gu Huiyan left, his face turned dark and he thought to himself, "Country bumpkin, you have something to watch tonight. It's really not too comfortable to take a shower after exercise. Your whole body is clear." Gu Huiyan came out cleanly after changing into his own flip-flops. He smelled of shower gel and was really a bit like the big boy next door. The meaning of only. As soon as he came out of the room, Gu Huiyan received a notice from the staff of the program team, saying that the program team would arrange for everyone to perform a show in the evening, so Gu Huiyan could prepare. Performance. Gu Huiyan scratched his head and didn't think much about it. After all, this was a show recording. A group of top artists gathered together, including well-known singers like Pei Jingshu, as well as people like Shang Zuoyan and Zhang Shuo who were from boy and girl groups. It's perfectly normal for everyone to put on a show or something after dinner in the evening, and the audience also likes to watch this. It would be abnormal not to allow performances, okay? New. As an artist, Gu Huiyan had no reason to refuse the program team's proposal. It just so happened that yesterday I triggered a hidden task in the system and got a song called a DL. Last night Gu Huiyan was free and made the accompaniment of the song and saved it in the computer. I can just sing it tonight. When Gu Huiyan went down, everyone was almost there. It is worth mentioning that Shang Zuoyan also came down together with Gu Huiyan, and she was soaked in sweat and came back to take a shower before coming down for dinner. Gu Huiyan went to play basketball, purely because she was greedy, she showed off potato chips and ice cream in the morning, and because she refused to obey the discipline, she was dragged by her manager to practice for more than 2 hours. Oh, yes, I forgot to mention that her manager was reviewing yesterday's recording in the afternoon and accidentally discovered that she had eaten a 5-Wagyu limited edition steak after the recording last night. She was so angry that she said she would practice more in the past few days. It made Shang Zuoyan miserable. Even after taking a shower, she still looked hopeless and muttered, "I really envy some people who don't have an agent and can eat whatever they want without anyone taking care of them." Of course she was talking about Gu Huiyan, and she was very depressed. Why should she be drilled hard even if she ate anything, while Gu Huiyan ate whatever he wanted without anyone caring about her? To be honest, this was what Shang Zuoyan said. If it came from Zhang Shuo's mouth, or even from Su Yuntang's mouth, it would be a bit ambiguous. It's ironic that Gu Huiyan is not popular and has no agent. At this moment, Shang Zuoyan was holding a cucumber, looking like she was about to cry, hiding in the corner and chewing on it. There was a table of dishes on the table, all delicious, but she couldn't touch anything. Her manager gave her a strict order. She could only eat a cucumber at night. If she ate more, she would have to practice for an extra hour tomorrow. Gu Huiyan didn't take her words to heart at all. He didn't even think he was talking about himself. Because at this time, Gu Huiyan, after Su Yuntang and Xilan used their chopsticks one after another, was already holding his own bowl of rice and showing off the rice crazily. The food was so delicious. After playing basketball for several hours, his lunch meal had long been digested. The hungry Gu Huiyan was focused on eating and had no intention of caring about whether Shang Zuoyan was making fun of him. Don't say it's not sarcastic, he doesn't care if it is. Su Yuntang made a braised beef dish, and Gu Huiyan filled a bowl of rice, poured some soup from the pot, and ate with a spoon, his cheeks bulging, and he took a few bites of vegetables from time to time, enjoying himself. This scene is like watching a science fiction movie for the little wild horse Shang Zuoyan over there. Gu Huiyan. Shang Zuoyan gritted her teeth and stamped her feet angrily, wishing she could grab Gu Huiyan's bowl and give him a bowl of Cao's rice bowl. This person is not a human being. Pook. Everyone couldn't help laughing after hearing this, and many viewers expressed their feelings for Shang Zuoyan for a minute. The meal was eaten quite quickly. After the meal, everyone cleaned up together. It is worth mentioning that Gu Huiyan was almost full from eating and could not help serve the bowl. Shang Zuoyan. Aim. She always felt that this guy was making her feel disgusted by eating so deliciously. In the midst of laughter, the dinner ended like this. After washing the dishes and tidying up, they returned to the yard. Su, the actor, suggested that everyone should perform a show or something because they were bored in their free time. Oh. Xiaoma Shang Zuoyan was in charge of the atmosphere group, Pei Jing and Sister Pei smiled slightly, while Zhang Shuo secretly glanced at Gu Huiyan. Everyone was obviously notified in advance just like Gu Huiyan. Many viewers' eyes lit up when they heard this. To be honest, they had been watching this show for 2 days. If Su Yuntang hadn't mentioned it, they would have almost forgotten that these people are still artists. In the past 2 days, their topics always revolved around something: melon seeds, ice cream, a 5-way Gio Night Market limited edition, potato chips, hot pot noodles, and so on. These are the hot search topics on Weibo and Douyin. Originally, when everyone came to watch this show and saw these top artists, they were all looking forward to their performances and sweet love. However, the style of the show was successfully led astray by Gu Huiyan, causing them to almost forget that these people were all artists with their own unique skills. The comment area became lively for a while, with many people talking. I can finally listen to my Sister Pei singing. Sister Pei YYDS. Shout with me, Shang Zuoyan, dance. Shang Zuoyan, dance. Brother, you know how to watch the show, ha ha ha. In comparison, I'm more curious about what Gu Huiyan is going to perform. This guy is so rustic, I really don't know what he can do. Gu Huiyan, I'll show you a show, 3 people and 1 pig. Get out of here. Ha ha ha, don't tell me, he really didn't feel any violation when he did this. I think he can really do this. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Participating in a love show, This little guy is too down to earth. Author, Buletin Shi Swan Shi Shui Xian. Chapter 46. When I heard that there was a performance to watch, the comment section became lively for a while. Voices of anticipation arose one after another. Having said that, the guests on Celebrity Love Season really have their own characteristics. Sister Pei Jingshu, is a well-known singer with a rogue voice and a former music talent show champion. She is born with a sense of empathy when singing. A senior person in the industry once described her as saying that it was hard to imagine that such a stunning voice, singing skills, and such a face could appear in a female artist at the same time. Every time she covers a song, it can stay on the hot search list for several days. Her stage performance is quite worth looking forward to. Needless to say, the top performers Zhang Shuo and Xiaoma Shangzuoyan are both from groups, and performing shows is simply a daily routine for them. It is worth mentioning that Shangzuoyan, I don't know how many people in the comment area shouted crazily in rhythm, Shangzuoyan dances. Men, they are all LSP, they all want to watch some Sao. In the eyes of most viewers, Shangzuoyan is the biggest highlight of this session. Direct shots of Shang Kuroyan during her girl group days often appear on major aviation websites and are sought after by countless otakus. Many viewers couldn't help but get excited just by imagining her twisting her slender waist, slender legs, and raising her round buttocks in front of the camera. At this moment, many viewers called GKD directly, and labor and management had all prepared toilet paper. Don't get me wrong, I'm afraid of nosebleeds. On the other hand, the two seniors, Su Yuntang and Xilin, did not take much advantage in this aspect. They are good actors, but their stage is not here. What they can contribute is behind the scenes. This part is just a matter of coping. As for Gu Huiyan, probably because this guy has always left everyone with the impression that he is like a gay guy, so maybe the audience doesn't have any plans for this guy to perform any exciting shows for everyone. Some people even said that he might be able to perform a show. It elicited a burst of laughter. It's a bit ironic, Gu Huiyan introduced himself yesterday and said that he was a trainee of a certain entertainment company for 2.5 years, but no one expected him to contribute a good show. Tisk, tisk, tisk. Staring at the show's producer, Zhang Dan, with his hands wrapped around his chest, he couldn't help but smack his lips and looked at his son Gu Huiyan with a bit of distress. This session was actually not arranged by the program team, but suggested by Zhang Shuo in the afternoon. Although I didn't know what Zhang Shuo's intention was at the time, the guest took the initiative to suggest that he want to perform something like this. The program team was too late to be happy, so how could they refuse? Zhang Dan agreed immediately. Looking at it now, Zhang Dan realized belatedly that this link seemed to be aimed at Gu Huiyan. Thinking about it, in the 2 days since the show started airing, almost all the topics discussed have been attracted by Gu Huiyan, an amateur. If this continues, the others will become his foils. It's strange that Zhang Shuo would be happy. If nothing goes wrong at this stage, Gu Huiyan will definitely be underestimated. Except for Gu Huiyan, every guest here is at the top of their respective industries. They may not need to deliberately put Gu Huiyan down. They only need to pull themselves up to make Gu Huiyan look lower and lower. This will let all viewers know that they are the best in their own unique skills, and Gu Huiyan. An amateur is always an amateur. At the end of the competition in any circle, the competition is about hard power, and gimmicks to attract attention will only last for a while at best. They relied on their dancing and singing skills accumulated over many years. Why should Gu Huiyan, a clown who participated in the show for the first time to impress people, be able to compete with his down-to-earth skills? What a joke. Well. Zhang Dan sighed and smiled helplessly. In fact, the phenomenon of being shot first is too common in this industry. As long as you stand out, there will always be people who will be angry. If you are good enough, it is okay. If you are not good, it is purely grandstanding, and you will only get shot in the head. As the boss of Gu Huiyan's company, she knew very well how much Gu Huiyan weighed. Yes, she is good looking, willing to work hard, has some dancing skills, and can sing well. They can do a little bit of everything, but nothing stands out and has no characteristics. Isn't this the case with today's boy bands? It's a pity that the superficial knowledge he has is not enough in front of these top artists. In terms of dancing, Charlene Shang and Zhang Shuo are the best, and in singing, Pei Jingshu is the best. Even the audience is watching them in this session. He, Gu Huiyan, can no longer rely on his down-to-earthness to make things happen on this professional stage, right? That would be really meaningless. I have to say that this aspect of Zhang Shuo's design is really a bit ruthless. If this link is played well, it will not only refocus everyone's attention on their top group, but also make everyone realize the fact that Gu Huiyan is just a clown trying to please others. What's worth mentioning is that even though everyone knew about this, no one spoke up to help Gu Huiyan. There was no way, they were all here to record the show, and they couldn't refuse to perform for Gu Huiyan. As an artist, if you have nothing to perform on stage, how can you make the audience like you? The word artist focuses on the word art. It can be art or talent, but there must be a performance that makes people applaud. Otherwise, why would you call yourself an artist? Compared to Zhang Dan's worries, Gu Huiyan himself didn't seem to be worried at all. Not only was he not nervous, but he wasn't even looking worried. He even showed off 3 bowls of rice at dinner and was still leisurely and elegantly eating melon seeds. Ka. There was no music in the small courtyard yet, but the sound of Gu Huiyan eating melon seeds was everywhere. At this moment, to be honest, Zhang Dan didn't know whether this kid was really careless and confused about the current situation or if he didn't take it seriously at all. The knife is on your neck, brother, please be more serious. Zhang Shuo was also a little surprised. He had thought that Gu Huiyan would be stressed out and nervous when performing on the same stage as top performers like them. Even if that's not the case, you can't just eat melon seeds like a normal person, right? Puff. The little wild horse Shang Zuoyan laughed when she saw it. She sat next to Gu Huiyan and couldn't help but raise her beautiful hand to pat Gu Huiyan and asked, "Hey, what do you want to perform?" She was actually kind-hearted. Shang Zuoyan wanted to say that if Gu Huiyan didn't know what to perform, why not cooperate with her in a male-female pas de deux? With her, it was like he had performed. I can be regarded as rescuing him and giving him a step down. I don't ask him to be grateful to me. I should just repay him for leaving the steak for me last night. But Gu Huiyan calmly spit out the melon seed peels and said, "Let me sing a song. This chapter is an extra update, and there will be another chapter tonight. I beg for recommendation votes, monthly votes, and rewards. Participating in a love show, this little guy is too down to earth." Author, Buletin Shi Swan Shi Shui Xian. Chapter 47. Ignorant of Good and Evil. After listening to Gu Huiyan's words, Shang Zuoyan snorted, pouted her mouth angrily, rolled her eyes and glared at Gu Huiyan. He didn't realize his kindness at all, and Shang Zuoyan didn't know whether to call him stupid or something. Gu Huiyan, who was glared at, was still confused. "Sister, you asked me what I wanted to perform and I said I would sing a song, but you said I didn't know what to do? Who the hell did I provoke?" Pook. The cold fair-skinned beauty Pei Jingshu, who was sitting on the other side of Gu Huiyan, witnessed the whole chat between Gu Huiyan and Shang Zuoyan and couldn't help but smile. Feeling coke. After laughing, he couldn't help but cast a somewhat worried look at Gu Huiyan. Looking at Gu Huiyan's heartless look, he obviously didn't realize that this was a trap set against him. Everyone else noticed it except him. Anyone who can reach the top in this circle is not a simple person, they are all foxes with thousands of years of history. No one should play chat with anyone, it is boring. Although Pei Jingshu is simple, she has a clear mind. She has a good impression of Gu Huiyan and wants to help him, but at this stage, she seemed really helpless. Shang Xuan can still pull him to dance a duet, but she can't pull Gu Huiyan to do a duet, right? She knows her own level well, and if she sings poorly on the same stage, it will be immediately apparent. Pei Jingshu was invited to a party held by an internet celebrity company to sing on the same stage with a female internet celebrity. The female internet celebrity account has more than 5 million followers. She is famous for her singing, and her singing performance on stage cannot be said to be bad. Quite average, but compared with Pei Jingshu, high and low appear immediately. When Pei Jingshu appeared on the stage and opened her mouth, she immediately became the backing vocalist and backdrop, and was completely crushed. There is still a quality gap between online singers and real big vocals. Really capable singers don't bother to use sound cards, let alone millions of tuners. Therefore, if she invites Gu Huiyan to sing a duet, she may not necessarily be helping Gu Huiyan, but may actually be harming him. Because of this, Shang Xuan was willing to lend a helping hand, but she was relieved for Gu Huiyan. But who knew that Gu Huiyan didn't get this at all? This hurts a bit. Such a link, if he relied on himself, would really be stepped into the ground. At the recording site, the guests had their own thoughts. The program team took advantage of everyone's chatting and resting time to tidy up the small stage in the corner of the courtyard. Lighting, sound, microphones, etc. are almost all in place. When the camera was shown here, a small singing area similar to that in a street bar was displayed in front of everyone. It may be a little crude, but it's more than enough for temporary performances. Oh ho! The performance officially started, and the audience was excited. Let me make a sample first. As the proposer of tonight's performance, actor Su Yuntang walked onto the stage. Oh! Shang Xuan, the little master of the Atmosphere group, took the lead in cheering and applauding. In the afternoon, Shang Xuan was drilled hard for more than 2 hours by her manager and her dance teacher. When she came back, Shang Xuan was soaked to the skin. She took a shower and changed her clothes, wearing simple white denim shorts and a camisole. The temperature difference in Yunnan was a bit big at night, so she wore a pink coat. What is worth mentioning is her hair. During the day, Shang Xuan wore 2 cute ponytails, which were also tie-dyed, making her look quirky. It was troublesome to do her hair like that, so she simply let it hang loosely after washing. Her thick hair was hanging down casually, with a few tie-dyed hairs of various colors mixed in. From the back, she looked like a bad girl. But she is still so lively. Among the crowd, an energetic girl like her attracted special attention. The program that actor Su Yuntang was going to perform was not singing and dancing. He demonstrated a wonderful non-physical performance on the stage. Su Yuntang, who was once invited to be a lecturer at a film school, has superb acting skills. He also specially invited Xylin to come on stage to cooperate with him. The two acted out a classic scene about an encounter on a bus, which successfully won everyone's cheers and applause. These good actors all have something. They can make people applaud in just one scene from the film school class. Movie King Su's performance ended, followed by mature sister Xylin. Xylin, a mature sister from an ethnic minority, chose to present a folk dance from her hometown to everyone. The goddess Xylin danced under the lights in a pure white dress. Her exotic looks fit perfectly with this kind of dance. It is worth mentioning that her dance completely makes people think of her as coquettish or skimming. The words can't be linked together, the elegance and calmness, and the artistic style come to mind. The two seniors played a good game and had a good start. After Xylin's performance was over, Zhang Shuo simply volunteered, went up with his guitar and sang the title song from his new album. It's not pleasant to hear, but it's definitely not unpleasant, just a bit of unnecessary moaning. He is so popular that during his performance, many of his female fans flooded the barrage area, making it look like it was his solo concert. After Zhang Shuo's performance ended, everyone was cheering to hear Pei Jingshu sing. Sister Pei smiled lightly and walked onto the stage unhurriedly. Instead of playing the guitar by herself like Zhang Shuo, she chose to play the accompaniment. Under the cool light, the fair-skinned beauty was sitting on a high chair in a long dress, with part of her slender legs exposed, making her look like a goddess. One of her slender and skinny hands was holding the microphone, and the other was casually placed on the skirt of her crossed legs. Her black hair was scattered like a waterfall. But just sitting there, many fans were already shouting crazy. "Sister Pei, he, my sister Pei. You can't drink at the kids' table upstairs. The housewife has made a fool of herself. You go to the dog table." The barrage kept coming. As the accompaniment played, Pei Jingshu sang a very nice and famous song Love That Never Lost Connection for everyone. Her live performance is really stable, and her sense of empathy is really strong. It is worth mentioning that she will subconsciously frown when she sings hard. Her delicate and pretty face always gives people a kind of smile when she frowns. I felt pity for her, which made her scene even more charming. Oh ho! Pa bang bang! When she finished singing, the whole courtyard burst into applause. In order to increase the atmosphere for everyone, the program team asked the staff to gather around and act as live audiences, so the small courtyard was quite lively. Regarding Pei Jingshu's performance, no one could say anything except absolute. Even Gu Huiyan couldn't help but applaud. Pei Jingshu's voice is truly well deserved. And when Pei Jingshu also finished her performance, the only ones who haven't performed yet are Shang Zuoyan and Gu Huiyan. Zhang Shuo grinned, glanced at Gu Huiyan, and thought to himself, "Country bumpkin, now you have a good look." Participating in a love show, this little guy is too down to earth. Author, Buletin Shi Swan Shi Shui Xian. Chapter 48. Which one of you comes first? As the initiator and host of the evening show, actor Su Yuntang looked at Shang Zuoyan and Gu Huiyan with a smile. Especially Gu Huiyan, he took a few more glances. The actor Su was also a bad person. He didn't deal with Gu Huiyan, but he never showed it. In the evening, he even increased the portion of the dishes specially for him, so that no one could tell his fault. But when Zhang Shuo proposed the evening performance, he was the first to agree with it and cooperated with the program team to inform the guests. He finally understood the trick of pushing the boat along with the current. Among those who wanted to watch Gu Huiyan's jokes the most, apart from Zhang Shuo, it was probably Su Yuntang. At this time, he seemed elegant and personable, but in fact he was holding back a joke to watch Gu Huiyan. "I'll go first." At this time, the little wild horse Shang Zuoyan smoothed her hair and stepped forward. Best Actor Su didn't say anything. In fact, the closer to the end and the finale, the easier it was to be criticized. It was too late for him to be happy about Gu Huiyan's final appearance. Oh! When Shang Zuoyan walked out of the group of guests, no one knew who among the staff at the scene started to boo, and then everyone cheered. No way! Shang Zuoyan is so popular and her figure is quite hot. Everyone is waiting to see her dance. Even the barrage was going crazy when she came out. Dance! 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 I'm sorry, Yanyan has been under a lot of pressure lately. My Beijing Experimental Middle School real name launch. Zhu Yuchen, I know it's you. Luzu, you kid, if you have the ability, don't make any mistakes. Although Your Excellency put the code, I still recognized you at a glance as my unlucky desk mate Zhang Kai. The comment area was even more lively than when Zhang Shuo sang. When Zhang Shuo performed, most of the chatter was from female fans. Boys usually talk less and are less likely to support things they don't like, but that doesn't mean they won't make noises. When good things that really stimulate them appear in front of them, they will tell those girls what they call fans and what they call star chasing. Men are chasing stars, what's the matter with you women? Let me dance for everyone. Amid cheers, Shang Zuoyan walked up to the stage and raised her proud head, with a sweet smile on her pretty doll-like face, and said something that ignited the audience. Oh! Everyone in the small courtyard was shouting crazy, that is to say, the location of the crystal small courtyard is in the corner of the village, otherwise the nearby residents would definitely complain. Giggle. Shang Zuoyan couldn't help but giggle with so many cries of ghosts and wolves. She enjoyed this feeling of being surrounded by stars. She did not directly choose the BGM to dance, but turned her attention to Gu Huiyan in the back row of the stage, who was idly eating melon seeds. She says, "It's a bit awkward for me to dance by myself. How about asking a friend to help me?" Usually when she dances on the show, she usually has a backup dancer, so it's normal for her to need someone to cooperate. However, as soon as she said these words, I come. Me. Some staff members were excited. It was an opportunity to dance with Shang Zuoyan. God knows how attractive dancing with such a beautiful snake is to men. Even those who couldn't dance still shouted at the top of their lungs. Even the people in the barrage were shouting Wu Yi, and they all expressed why they were not at the scene. Don't get excited, I'm looking for someone who can dance, Shang Zuoyan chuckled. One sentence was like a bucket of cold water poured on the staff members, who looked hopeless. For a time, many people cast envious eyes on Zhang Shuo. The effect of the program is the result of the program. In fact, everyone knows that when Shang Zuoyan said that she wanted to find someone to cooperate with her, she would definitely not find someone from the staff, but should find someone from the guests. Not many of the guests could dance, just one or two, and Zhang Shuo was definitely the most outstanding among them. Besides, he and Shang Zuoyan had worked together on stage before, so it was only natural for him to call Zhang Shuo to cooperate with her now. Oh! In the barrage area, some fans from both sides have started to yell at each other, saying that Shang Zuoyan is indeed a little wild horse and really takes the initiative. He. Zhang Shuo picked up the water glass and took a sip, moistened his throat, and smiled proudly. Although he had no interest in Shang Zuoyan, he had no reason to refuse since Shang Zuoyan was so sensible in giving others the opportunity to show his sage. He may have already made plans to go on stage to cooperate with Shang Zuoyan. But who would have known that at this moment, the doll hottie Shang Zuoyan on the stage would point at Gu Huiyan with a smile and say, "Hey, Gu Huiyan, do you dare to dance with me?" As soon as she said this, then the place was extremely quiet. Everyone looked at Shang Zuoyan in disbelief, and then looked at Gu Huiyan. Perhaps no one expected that the dance partner Shang Zuoyan was looking for was not only not the top-class Zhang Shuo she had ever worked with, but Gu Huiyan. What the hell? Why him? Shang Zuoyan, U**U0026 amp, %UN #@ Even fans from both sides were dissatisfied. Having said that, if Shang Zuoyan hadn't mentioned it, many people would have almost forgotten that besides Zhang Shuo, there was also Gu Huiyan who could dance. Gu Huiyan introduced himself before and said that he was a trainee of a certain entertainment company for 2.5 years. As a trainee of a boy band, there is no doubt that he can sing and dance. It's just that because he is too down-to-earth, and because everyone else in tonight's performance was too eye-catching, no one paid attention to him, and they all forgot about him. When everyone's attention is focused on the wonderful performance, no one may pay attention to him no matter how popular he is. And the moment Shang Zuoyan clicked on Gu Huiyan, although it was indeed natural, everyone was very surprised. Who would have thought that Shang Zuoyan would give this opportunity to dance as a backup dancer to Gu Huiyan? This is how the audience and fans see it. But the guests present had different views. The mature sister Xylin and the cold fair-skinned beauty Pei Jingxu pursed their lips and smiled, Obviously they both understood Shang Zuoyan's rescue for Gu Huiyan. On the other hand, the top two, Zhang Shuo and the best actor, Su Yuntang, had slightly gloomy expressions on their faces. Su Yuntang was okay, but he felt that Shang Zuoyan was a little speechless when he came to Gu Huiyan's rescue, but Zhang Shuo felt as if he had been slapped hard on the face. Please. Just now, everyone including him thought that Shang Zuoyan would choose him as a backup dancer, and the dead CP fans of both of them were about to burst into flames. But Shang Zuoyan did not choose herself as her old partner, but instead chose the rustic country bumpkin Gu Huiyan. Isn't this enough of a slap in the face? Isn't this all a face-saving output? How could Zhang Shuo endure it? If he wasn't recording the show, he would have really walked away. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Participating in a love show, this little guy is too down to earth. Author, Buletin Shi Swan Shi Shui Xian. Chapter 49. Tonight's game, strictly speaking, was saved by Zhang Shuo and Su Yuntang. Why did the two of them want to save this game? Of course it was to suppress that bumpkin Gu Huiyan. This kid has been on the show for a few days and has stolen all their limelight. Most of the hot topics on major social platforms are him. Compared with him, the others have no show effect at all and are just like his foil. That's all. The key is that Su Yuntang is attracted to Xilin, Zhang Shuo is interested in Pei Jingshu, but both women are very fond of Gu Huiyan. This is the most intolerable thing. So they have to deal with this bumpkin. Everything was going according to plan, Gu Huiyan was about to perform, but who knew that Shang Zuoyan suddenly appeared halfway and wanted to rescue Gu Huiyan. This makes them a little speechless towards Shang Zuoyan. Especially Zhang Shuo, he even had a bit of hatred for Shang Zuoyan. He had never found this woman so unpleasant before. Everyone's eyes were also focused on Gu Huiyan at this moment. When Shang Zuoyan chose him, Gu Huiyan was eating melon seeds. When the cameras showed him, he was completely confused. What? Don't you dare. Shang Zuoyan was on the stage holding a microphone. She looked very fresh and capable just a few hours after taking a shower. She had a pretty doll-like face and a very sweet smile. This. Gu Huiyan scratched his head. To be honest, he didn't think about dancing, he just wanted to sing a song. There were not many system points to begin with, and at this point, they were just over 4,000. Gu Huiyan had already planned to add all the points to outstanding singing. He planned to shelve acting, dancing, etc. for the time being. But Shang Zuoyan is so whole. He was forced to allocate some points to add to the dance. Fine. He stood up helplessly and grinned. While walking on stage, open the system, find the dance option, and start adding points crazily. After the dance option reached LV2, Gu Huiyan ignored it. At this time, the level remained unchanged. Gu Huiyan directly added points. When he had added almost 500 points, the system prompted that he had upgraded to LV3. At that time, Gu Huiyan suddenly felt that his whole body had become more flexible, and it was as if he had mastered all the dances he had practiced before in an instant. This felt a bit overwhelming, so Gu Huiyan simply added some more points to the dance. After paying a little attention, Gu Huiyan discovered that when he added another 500 points to the dance option, the LV3 progress bar was only halfway up. It seems like it will double every time you level up. Gu Huiyan smacked his lips, feeling a little worried about his points for a moment. But now that it's half done, there's no room to turn back. Gu Huiyan simply gritted his teeth, stamped his feet, and clenched his fists. Added another 500 points to dance. Finally, the system prompts that the dance has been upgraded to LV4. At that moment, Gu Huiyan suddenly felt like he had just entered the sage mode after reading the Book of Sages. My whole body feels clear and comfortable, which is beyond words. Just in time. He has also arrived on the stage in front of Shang Zuoyan. Seeing Gu Huayan looking like he was doing nothing and unreliable, Shang Zuoyan was not sure whether he understood her good intentions. At the same time, she was also a little worried about Gu Huayan. I'm afraid that his dancing skills are average, and if he dances something complicated, he won't be able to keep up with the rhythm. What are you dancing for? So, when choosing songs, Shang Zuoyan specially selected some simple ones. At this moment, Gu Huayan was experiencing the improvement in dance talent brought by the system. When he saw that Shang Zuoyan had chosen some simple dances, he couldn't help but complain. These are too simple. Can you dance to something more complicated? Simple. Shang Zuoyan was very angry when she heard this. Well, she kindly thought about Gu Huayan and helped him find a simple dance to dance. How could he say that he chose an easy dance? So Shang Zuoyan directly chose complicated dances from the song list to show to Gu Huayan, and said to Gu Huayan, "I'm afraid you can't keep up with me." Gu Huayan took a look at the song list she had chosen, and found that each one was indeed more difficult to dance to than the last. In companies, dance teachers usually use it when they first meet to demonstrate and show off. But for Gu Huayan, who has added dancing talent to the system, these are no longer a problem. So Gu Huayan is not afraid, but the dances she chose are not interesting. "Do you dare to dance something more exciting?" Gu Huayan asked with a smile. Gu Huayan stood on the stage, wearing the simple shirt and pants he had worn during the day. Because he was going to dance on stage, he reluctantly took off his flip-flops and put on the sneakers he wore during the day to play ball. "After taking a shower at night, my hair was a bit blow-dried, so I simply put on a grey peaked cap, which made my image look fresh and neat." With his hands around his chest, he grinned and provoked Shang Zuoyan, causing a burst of booing. Oh! Not only the on-site staff, but also many viewers couldn't help but post comments. "Gu Huayan, you know what we want to do. I knew you were not a good guy. But, I like it. Ha ha ha." When young people dance and talk about stimulation, probably everyone knows what they are referring to. Ah! The little wild horse Shang Zuoyan was immediately angry. Well, she was kind enough to help this guy out. She chose some simple dances for him, but he found them boring. She chose some complicated dances, but he didn't find them exciting. There are so many things going on. Of course the exciting dancer Zhou Yan can dance. How exciting are the members of the girl group who debuted in Bangsa country? Can't you dance? However, those dances were much more difficult than the complicated ones she chose. It was not that the movements were difficult, but because the scale was large and difficult to control, and it also tested the cooperation of two people. She and Gu Huayan didn't have much coordination, and they hadn't rehearsed before. If they really tried to jump, they might overturn. But if Shang Zuoyan backs down now, she will definitely not be able to tell. She has a competitive personality and cannot be provoked by others, especially when it comes to her specialty of dancing. At that time, she was also on top. She raised her slender hands and grabbed Gu Huayan's collar, pulling him close to her. Their faces were so close that they could even feel each other's breathing as their eyes met. "Breathing like orchid?" she asked. "Then what exciting dance do you want to do?" Participating in a love show, this little guy is too down to earth. Author, Buletin Shi Swan Shi Shui Xian. Chapter 50. Then what exciting dance do you want to do? Under the lights, on the stage, Shang Zuoyan suddenly approached Gu Huayan, their eyes met, and the two were so close that they seemed to be able to feel each other's breath. The smell of hormones permeated the entire crystal courtyard at this moment, and seemed to overflow from the screens of the viewers watching the show. Oh! At that time, the audience and many viewers watching the show were so excited. "This hasn't even started yet, you two are just doing this, are you trying to excite someone to death?" Many fans said that my little heart almost jumped out of my chest. Gu Huiyan, why are you provoking Shang Xuan for nothing? I wonder if her nickname is Little Wild Horse. She can't be provoked the most when she's dancing. She once participated in a hip-hop dance show and was provoked by a guest from another group. She had to dance to that guest's uniform. This is a girl who can never stop once her competitive spirit is aroused. Off stage, Xylan and Pei Jingshu couldn't help but frown, feeling that Shang Xuan and Gu Huiyan were too close. However, Zhang Shuo and Su Yuntang's mouths twitched. Good guy, they are acting like this. Regardless of whether Gu Huiyan is really capable or not, at least the effect of the show is completely controlled. This must be the place where everyone is most impressed by tonight. This somewhat defeats their purpose. He. On the other hand, Zhang Dan, the producer behind the scenes, looked at Gu Huiyan, who was confronting Shang Xuan with a kind smile on her face, and said to herself that this kid really always surprises people. He's so cool, even if he doesn't have any real skills, the show is still very effective. This side of the stage, Gu Huiyan was a little surprised to be suddenly faced by Shang Xuan, but he did not flinch. Instead, he replied provocatively. Troublemaker, do you dare to dance? As soon as he said this, even Shang Xuan, who was very close to him, the young wild horse Shang Xuan who was in full swing just now, had his pupils tightened. Immediately afterwards, the little face quickly turned crimson. Oh! Everyone at the scene, including all the viewers watching the show, immediately became excited. Troublemaker, Bangsa country's famous side dance, touching buttocks, touching thighs, and other large-scale movements are commonplace in the dance of this song. The most noteworthy thing is the combination dance between the two people here. Just now, Shang Xuan suddenly pulled Gu Huiyan's collar close to her. This action is extremely common in there. No one thought that Gu Huiyan would dare to propose this dance with Shang Xuan. Puff. Zhang Shuo was drinking water, and he squirted immediately. He was very familiar with this song as he debuted in the Bangsa Chinese boy band. If Gu Huiyan really wanted to dance with Shang Xuan in the MD song, it would be too cheap for this kid. The abacus is so clever. Even he didn't expect it. At this moment, many viewers watching the show were already cursing like crazy. I didn't expect you to be such a caring person. Gu Huiyan, you are an idiot. What the hell are you planning? Even labor and management heard it in outer space. No, with this dance, Gu Lalu, don't you think you are a bit overestimating your capabilities? You laughing at Gu Huiyan shows that you can't understand his happiness. Gu Huiyan's perfect atmosphere. Should I say it or not, Gu Huiyan's wave is really atmospheric. Many people may have only seen Gu Huiyan provoking Shang Xuan to do a more exciting dance. Then I felt that such an exciting dance could really be performed well by Gu Huiyan, a little fresh person who had been practicing for 2.5 years. These people. All I can say is, it's too honest. Please. There are many very sexy dance moves in Troublemaker, and Gu Huiyan dancing this dance with Shang Xuan means that he can have his hands on Shang Xuan. Shang Xuan's figure is curved at the front and back, with concave and convex shapes, and her waist is so twisted that it makes people drool. Just now she said she wanted to dance and started the barrage, and it turned into a NASA rocket launch site. Do you even need to describe it? It was a man who wanted to touch her when he saw her, but unfortunately they only dared to think about it. Okay. Gu Huiyan, this kid, went straight to work today. Not only did she clearly express her intention to take action against Shang Xuan, she even gave such a very righteous reason. It's impossible to refute. When dancing to Troublemaker, the more he touches Shang Xuan, the more exciting and professional it becomes. The crux of the matter is that Shang Xuan proposed that the two dance together, and it was not Gu Huiyan who took the initiative. Gu Huiyan just picked a dance. Is there any problem? Gu Huiyan, you kid. Many viewers couldn't laugh or cry at Gu Huiyan. Speaking of which, although Shang Xueyan has danced a large-scale dance before, she has never danced Troublemaker. Just thinking of the scene of Gu Huiyan and Shang Xueyan dancing this dance, many viewers can't help but get excited. They understood Gu Huiyan's intentions and insulted Gu Huiyan for his good calculation, but they also wanted to see him and Shang Xueyan dance this dance. All we can say is that NTR's soul will never be defeated. And looking at the atmosphere at the scene, Zhang Shuo and Su Yuntang's expressions became even more ugly. Even Pei Jingshu and Xilin's faces didn't look very good. Well, Gu Huiyan seems to be an honest guy, but he didn't expect that he would propose such a side dance to Shang Xueyan. Especially Pei Jingshu, Miss Pei's mouth was slightly raised, she felt a little unhappy, and she looked at Gu Huiyan with a bit of resentment. The little wild horse Shang Xueyan on the stage was not much better. She didn't even understand how things could develop to this point. Please. She initially came to rescue Gu Huiyan. Who would have thought that this old man would backhand kick her into the pit? The most terrible thing is that she showed such a provocative attitude just now, and now she is a little bit unable to get off the stage if she doesn't dance Troublemaker with Gu Huiyan. But if you jump, it's really a bit shameful. She feels like she will be taken advantage of by this guy until she dies, okay. She really didn't expect that Gu Huiyan, a boy with thick eyebrows and big eyes, who had always been honest since they met, would turn out to be so good at playing. He hides it very deeply. This is something that not only Shang Xueyan wants to complain about, but also everyone wants to complain about it. Gu Huiyan, the old man, hides it too deeply. Everyone thinks he is a gentleman, he looks honest, and he can finish 3 big bowls of rice. Well, this kid's true nature has been exposed now. What? Don't you dare. Gu Huiyan didn't care about that. He suppressed a smile and asked Shang Xueyan in a bad way. Who doesn't dare? Shang Xueyan's face turned red, she snorted, raised a jade hand, clenched a pink fist, and hit Gu Huiyan hard. At this moment, the arrow was ready and had to be fired. Driven by a competitive spirit, Shang Xueyan gritted her teeth and said, "Just jump, you'd better be able to keep up with me." Gu Huiyan nodded. "Come." Seeing that he didn't panic at all and looked very confident, Shang Xueyan murmured in her heart, "Is this guy a master at pretending to be a pig and eating the tiger?" She didn't have time to think too much. Oh. Because the NTR gang in the audience have started to boo like crazy. Have no choice. Shang Xueyan had no choice but to find the song Troublemaker, connect it to the Bluetooth speaker, and then hand the phone to the staff. Glancing at Gu Huiyan, she sighed silently in her heart, thinking that she had really taken the initiative and entered the tiger's mouth. Thanks to friends Gia, Lu Hui, Reader Kejel, she is regretful at the end game. Book friends 202103011064540834464. Book friends 20220111010358755, and go Xiongling Black Whirlwind for their rewards. This chapter is still an update, so I'd like to thank you. Continue to beg for various recommendation votes, monthly votes, and rewards. Thank you for your support. Today is Shang Xueyan's birthday, why don't you show your love to the little wild horse before we go?